Well, hello. Hello.
Oh. Then I had this whole fun thing I was going to do about how I was going to do my sexy, creepy, quiet Jim Nance at the Masters voice because I've got to save my voice because you get another Rob Brown marathon today.
I thought I was in the Matrix. That was weird.
Yeah, I mean, what's better than the Rob Brown show, Lonzo? The Rob Brown show 3 times, all playing at the same time. Welcome in, folks. The Rob Brown show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do? Great to be with you.
I hate to interrupt, but I just want to say the boss was standing in the door right when that happened. So that was amazing. Good timing.
45 consecutive days of streaming without an issue, and the one time that I pushed the self-destruct button, the boss is standing in the doorway.
So I take my headphones off to see what he wants, and then all I hear is echo, like, oh, and then he just left.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
He can't say anything to you. You're working for 6 hours today.
This is true. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an extended edition of the Rob Brown Show. Mark Ryan out today, so I am taking you all the way to 6 p.m., 6 consecutive hours of me. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever one is more appropriate. I am Rob Brown, the great one, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. Hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound, and the content cash cow, Lonzo, back in the network studio, pushing buttons, switching switches. What up, Zoe?
I am looking forward to 6 hours of Rob Brown, and I'm sure everyone out there is looking forward to that too. It's going to be an amazing time.
You are looking forward to 3 hours of the Rob Brown Show and then going to do your actual hard work.
Yeah, I didn't say I was going to be around for the entire 6 hours, but I mean, right. Diesel could come down with the same ailment. It's a possibility.
I am, again, filling in for Mark Ryan today. So you got me all the way up until 6 p.m. this evening. Happy to be hanging out with you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I expect, nay, demand full crowd participation today. I want phone calls. I want text messages. I want emails. I want tweets. I want it all. I want you guys to be a part of the show today. I want you to help me carry the show today because, Lonzo, I don't want to. That's not true. I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't volunteer to do 6 hours. But I want your help. I'm going to need your help. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot maintain this level of volume and intensity for a full 6 hours without your help. All right? So the phone lines are open at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. You can text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307 for the Ingles Market text line. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at ESPN Upstate. You can Facebook us at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. And coincidentally enough, that's also where you will join us for our live stream. Go to facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, twitter.com/Lonzo on Word, or search The Rob Brown Show on the YouTubes, and you can watch the live stream. You can see Zoe and I do our behind-the-scenes work. You can interact with us on breaks where we talk about anything and everything we want to without that pesky little hashtag stick to sports requirement. You can help us pick show content, etc., etc., etc. All of that being said, your input on the show today is incredibly appreciated because the more you call, text, email, tweet, etc., the less I have to do between now and 6 p.m. Cool. Good talk. Glad we had it. Let's do the lunch breakdown.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys hear?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It is the lunch breakdown. The three things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the scuttlebutt around the table as decided by, well, me. The first thing you need to know, though, is that the hair game's on point today. Once again, the hair game is just on point. The mane looks good.
Do you sleep with like one roller to get that?
No, dude, all natural, my man. I don't even have product in this. This is just how naturally good it looks.
So that wave is just there.
It's just there, man. See, I got the calic over here, and I got another one over there. So this one rolls it over, and this one catches it and rolls it down. So it is, as the great Dolly Parton once said, it's expensive to look this cheap, man. It is, and I pull it off every day. Item number one on the lunch breakdown. We mentioned this towards the end of yesterday's show, but it caught a lot of attention yesterday afternoon. According to multiple sources, including Adam Schefter from ESPN, the Atlanta Falcons have been hearing trade offers and are open to trade offers for wide receiver Julio Jones. The 32-year-old Crimson Tider has spent the better part of 11 seasons with the ATL, but he might be on his way out. General Manager Terry Fontenot talked to Fox 5 in the ATL yesterday evening. He said, quote, "That's one of those things when you're doing things the right way in an organization, you have to listen if people call on any player, especially we are in a difficult cap situation. That's just the circumstance, and it's not a surprise for us. We knew the circumstances we were in. Our administration has done an excellent job up to this point in getting us in a position to be able to manage the cap, and yet we still have more work to do. So when teams call about any players, then we have to listen, and we have to weigh it, and we have to determine what's best for the organization, and we have to handle everything with class." Julio is the ATL's all-time leader in catches with 848, in yards with 12,896, and his 60 touchdowns rank him second behind only the great Roddy White. Julio has played his entire career in Atlanta since being drafted number 6 overall back in 2011, when the Falcons used 5 picks to trade up from number 27 to take him. He has been an immediate difference maker at the time and remained that way since. Now, Jones' salary cap number and cap mismanagement by Atlanta's former general manager, Thomas Dimitroff, are why the team would listen to offers for the star wideout. The cap situation has already forced the ATL to restructure the contracts of multiple Falcons players this offseason, including those of quarterback Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, not Ryan, linebacker Deion Jones, and left tackle Jake Matthews. Now, the team did not restructure Julio's deal, though, with a $23.05 million cap hit and his base salary of $15.3 million fully guaranteed. If the Falcons were to trade Jones after June 1st, they would be able to spread out the financial hit over 2 seasons instead of all and one. And, of course, the Falcons hold the number 4 draft pick in the draft, which starts on Thursday and can be heard right here on ESPN Upstate. We'll have exclusive draft coverage. You can listen to the entire first hour starting at 7 p.m. on Thursday right here on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put it on your digital devices now. On Friday, you'll be able to listen to round 2 and 3 starting at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, rounds 4 through 7 will be carried live right here on the Big Stick. Now, why, Rob, in a Carolina hood, are you spending so much time talking about Julio and the Falcons? And the answer, my friend who asked metaphorically, is very simple. It is because there is going to be a massive impact on the rest of the top 10 based on what the ATL prefers to do. And my suspicion is that Atlanta is doing what they can to try to pretend that listening to trade offers about the great Julio Jones is because, it's cap management. And I'm sure that it is to some degree cap management. But I think that's a smokescreen. I think they are trying, and not doing a very good job, to deter people from the thought process that they are going to pick a wide receiver at number 4. Hence, Kyle Pitts. And in that spot, I am looking at the potential for Atlanta to take a wide receiver, push another quarterback down the line just a little bit, and with the quarterbacks being pushed down the line, it might make the 8th spot more valuable. And I am not alone. Orlovsky stands with me. Dan Orlovsky, clearly a huge listener, a big fan of the Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate. He was listening yesterday, and here was his take on why this is very interesting. Here you go. Here's what Orlovsky had to say yesterday on ESPN.
You're trading Julio Jones, take a quarterback. Okay, just take him, because you've told us everything that you think about your football team. If you're trading Julio Jones, take the quarterback, start the rebuild. Okay, number 2, your goal, if you're not trading Julio, your goal should get everybody in the NFL thinking you absolutely love these quarterbacks. Absolutely in love with them. Can't leave the draft without one of them. Because the reality is this at 4, you're either going to draft one of them or you're going to fleece somebody. Okay, you're going to get somebody to be so desperate to move up to 4 that you're going to get a bunch of picks. My last point would be this, because I continue to try and look at the history of these general managers. Terry Fontenot, their new general manager, came from New Orleans. I think during his time there, they drafted a first-round receiver twice. Brandon Cooks, and I'm putting Kyle Pitts in that pass-catching threat receiver type of thought process.
He should
Robert Meacham and Brandon Cooks. You think he's got a good feeling about drafting skill position players early? They drafted a ton of offensive linemen that have panned together. Comes from an organization that built by the offensive line that was really good. I don't see him taking a pass catcher. I see him trying to trade out of that pick.
Now, Orlovsky disagrees with me and says that they are not, N-O-T, not going to go with a skill position player, but will more likely. But they also mentioned there that he thinks he's going to, that the ATL will trade back. They will trade back out of that position. He said, if you're going to trade Julio, start the rebuild now, get rid of Matt Ryan, not Ryan, draft a QB, and get set for the future. But if not, trade back. I don't see Orlovsky being correct on either one of those. I think the ATL does not believe it's time to start over, not time to rebuild. Therefore, they will go wide receiver, Kyle Pitts. He is probably the only skill position player, Lonzo, that I have heard that has been mentioned in the same breath as a top 5 pick along with those quarterbacks. It's exactly the need the Falcons want. And if you are the Panthers, while you don't want to deal with Kyle Pitts in division for years future, you do want Atlanta to take that spot. Because if somebody trades into the 4 to pick up a quarterback, it decreases the value of the 8 overall draft pick. If they do pick Kyle Pitts, it pushes a quarterback back to 8. There will be at least 2 available there, and it increases the value. If you are a Panthers fan, you want the ATL to draft Kyle Pitts, I think, Alonzo.
I think this is the time where you decide to go, we're willing to trade Matt Ryan. I mean, they said they'll accept, calls about any player. That's what you said a little bit earlier. We'll trade Matt Ryan to move up and get one of those quarterbacks up near the top and keep Julio Jones.
Listen, I think keeping Julio Jones is the right thing to do. I think
what has Matt Ryan really done?
He's been surprisingly quietly good. That's the thing. Numbers wise, Matty Ice has been one of the best quarterbacks in the past 20 years. Problem is,
how many championships has he won? How many playoff games has he won?
Again, it's one of those things that I think we fall into the trap. And I want to pause this conversation, Lonzo, because I absolutely 100% do want to come back to it. It's one of the spots that we get caught up in. Quarterback gets too much of the credit and too much of the blame. I want to circle back around to this, though. And the good news is, though, I got 6 hours to do it. We got time. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown, Todd McShay, as we head towards the NFL draft on Thursday. Todd McShay, of course, the partner in crime of Mel Kiper Jr. there at ESPN, has thrown out his predictions for what it is that the Carolina Panthers will most be looking for when the draft rolls around on Thursday evening. What's the biggest need that they are looking at? He says the top draft needs they should be looking for are quarterback, linebacker, edge rusher, guard, and tight end when it's all said and done. But he added safety to the mix as well. He said a safety should be a priority for Carolina. Jeremy Chin, more of an on-the-line type safety, a guy who's more built to be almost a hybrid linebacker safety. The rest of your safeties are usually guys, or on this roster are guys that are older, not viewed as starters by the rest of the league. That's why they're there. Does that tip the cap just a little bit for Carolina? We're going to circle back around to that in a little while. I'm going to give you the top 5 guys that Carolina should be looking at if they are going to draft with number 8 and not trade back. And finally, item number 3, in a discussion that we will be having later on in the show as well, it has been announced that the last 16 years of history are just that for the NHL and NBC. After the NHL sparked a deal with ESPN, where the 4-letter became the primary network partner for the NHL, NBC was moved to a second fiddle role, and they have said thanks, but no thanks. NBC will not air NHL games beyond the 2021 season. A person with knowledge of the situation confirmed to USA Today yesterday. The NHL Board of Governors held a call yesterday regarding the future broadcast rights, most of which will belong to the ESPN after this season. Turner Sports has also entered the picture as the league's second broadcast partner. It announced, along with the NHL earlier this morning, that 3 of the next 7 Stanley Cups will fall under the Turner umbrella, while ESPN will broadcast 4 on ABC. Next year's 2022 Stanley Cup is on ABC, and from that point until 2028, even number years, 22, 24, 26, and 28 will be on ABC. Odd number years, 23, 25, and 27, will broadcast under the Turner umbrella. NBC will still carry the league through this summer Stanley Cup, which is scheduled to end by mid-July in advance of Olympics coverage, but then they are done with the NHL. They are out. This, as weird as it might seem to say, considering the amount of equity built into the NHL through NBC, is actually a great move for hockey. And I'm going to explain that one to you coming up later on this hour as well. We are loaded with stuff to talk about today. Be a part of the show. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line. Already got some texts coming up that we will address in the next segment. Let's have a little fun on the show today, kids. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Matt, call us back. Jump back on the line. I'll get you right out of the gate if you want to call back. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
I'm looking outside the window, ladies and gentlemen. The skies are blue. Temperatures in the low 70s. Just a few clouds in the sky. It is a beautiful day, which makes it a perfect day for what? Golf. Yes, golf. Ladies and gentlemen, is there more that you can do outside to enjoy life than going to one of the most prestigious and beautiful courses in the Upstate and playing around a golf? Oh, what? You want it to be a better deal? All right, just fine. How about you get around the golf at 9 prestigious and beautiful Upstate golf courses in this gorgeous Upstate spring weather, and you do it for less than $15 a round, less than $1 a hole. Does that sound good to you? Of course it does, because you're a smart, handsome, good-looking individual. So you need to grab the Upstate golf card, and you need to grab it now. The Upstate golf card is on sale. You are getting greens fees at the Preserve It Verde, Pebble Creek, Legacy Pines, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Carolina Springs, Willow Creek, Links to Trine, Rolling Green Golf Club, and new this year, the Club at Brookstone for just $99. That's over $450 worth of golf. You're getting it for $99. But supplies are limited, and trust me, they go quickly. Every year we sell out of these things. Every season we sell them, we sell out of them. So get yours now before we run out. Go to UpstateGolfCard.com. UpstateGolfCard.com. Get yours now before they run out. It's the 2021 Upstate Golf Card.
AutomotiveMap.com. Matt is back, by the way.
Outstanding. The next pun in the thread, Lonzo, the next great move is the mandible dew claw.
Really?
Yes, really. That's a good one. If you're not in with my pun game, Lonzo, I don't know what to say.
I cannot compete with the pun game. That's why I'm not participating. Puns are not my avenue, my Billy Whack, or whatever that is. Bailiwick. Billy Whack is a totally different thing. I hate when something's trending and you can't figure out why. It's one thing that, well, there's a lot of things that suck about Twitter, but that's difficult.
Thanks, Ben. That's very kind of you, man. I appreciate that. I have fun doing it. What's 2 shows in a day?
I'm just saying, Ben, tune in around 5 o'clock, see if he still has that same energy.
Every time I do this, Lonzo, you say that, and every time I finish flexing and smiling, big dog.
Perhaps I am playing a psychological game to get you pumped up and ready to go.
You're encouraging me by stepping on my face. Gotcha.
Always works for me.
Your home for live coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft, kicking off this Thursday at 7 p.m.
All right, Matt is back.
FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app, ESPN.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo and you. Jump on board with us, 844-477-3776. Matt has called back in. Let's get him on the air. Wants to talk a little Falcons as we lead up to the draft. Matt, thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you on the show, bud.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
What's up, buddy?
I heard you guys talking about Julio Jones earlier, and my question is, if you're able to make the argument that he's getting older, that he's expensive, that maybe his best years are behind him, why isn't the same argument being made for Matt Ryan? He's older. He's had more of a decline. He's worth a larger cap hit. And if you are able to if you're able to draft, say, a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance, you let him sit behind Matt Ryan for a year, maybe 2. By that time, Matt Ryan is going to be as old as Aaron Rodgers. And it's going to be time for them to decide what to do with Matt Rodgers and to move on to the young guy. What do you think about that?
Zoe and I were setting this conversation up, and I'm glad you brought it back up, Matt, about Matt Ryan, not Ryan. Daniel, I'm on board with let me phrase that. I'm not on board with what Orlovsky said, which is, if you're getting rid of Julio, you might as well just draft the next quarterback and get on with the future, because I think Matt Ryan is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the National Football League. The dude has been more than productive his entire career based on both regular and advanced stats, depending on where you look at him. The dude in his entire career, based on QBR. Now, I know that QBR is a stat that some people love and some people hate, Matt. In his entire QBR, there has been one season where he has been outside of the top 10 in the league in QBR. And in that one season, he was number 11. When you look at his numbers, they are, they're not Aaron Rodgers, they're not Drew Brees, and I think we have this tendency as NFL fans, Matt, to look at quarterbacks and say, okay, if they're not putting up Brees numbers in terms of accuracy, if they're not putting up Rodgers numbers in terms, or Mahomes numbers of downfield passing yards, then they're not good. And I don't think that's the case. I think Matt Ryan is very capable of being a playoff quarterback. But he has done it before. That's not where the problem lies. The problem with me and the ATL has just been coaching and bad front office management, Matt. That has changed. I am optimistic about Atlanta now. Julio's not the problem, but the cap space created by old management is.
Right, and that was kind of my point. He is the most expensive quarterback in the league. I think he's the most expensive player in the next couple of years. Roethlisberger was number 2 before they redid his deal. He is the most expensive player in the NFL right now, and he's what's creating the cap issues, not Julio.
I am looking up right now, or trying to look up right now, the NFL's highest paid quarterbacks as of the 2020 season. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I know they've restructured Matt Ryan's contract. So my understanding is he's dropped. But going into last season, Matt Ryan was the 9th highest paid quarterback. He was paid less than Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers. He was paid less than Kirk Cousins. He is being paid less than Carson Wentz signs with the Colts for. He is being paid only $500,000 more than Ryan Tannehill is being paid. And I would argue that if I had to slot Matt Ryan in production into this, I would say he's ahead of Dak. I would say he's ahead of you could make the argument that Jared Goff is there, although I would argue Jared Goff has been more fortunate in his setup with the Rams now with the Lions. I would slate him ahead of Cousins, ahead of Wentz, ahead of Tannehill, and yet he's the 9th highest paid quarterback in the league right now. Now, he makes more guaranteed money than everybody outside of Dak Prescott with 94.5, but his cap hit was actually kind of team friendly for the most part. I'm saying I would ride with Matt Ryan for another 2 seasons. Now, after 2 seasons with a new coach, new general manager, hopefully some added weapons, whether it's Kyle Pitts instead of Julio Jones and Pitts steps up, I'd give him another 2 years to prove that he's still that guy. He's only 32. I mean, he's not ancient by quarterback standards. I give him another 2 years. But like I said, to me, the diagnosis of the issues Atlanta has had over the years has not been Matt Ryan. It's been mismanagement of a really talented offense offensively by a bad coach in Dan Quinn and really bad cap management by a bad GM in Thomas Dimitroff.
Well, thank you for taking my call. Have a good day, y'all.
Yeah, Matt, appreciate you very much, man. Thanks for jumping on board. We appreciate it. 844-GSP ESPN. Yeah, look, numbers-wise, Matt Ryan is producing. Again, his entire career, he's been outside of the top 10 in QBR 1 season, and he was number 11 that year. In terms of efficiency rating, he's been a top 10 quarterback basically every year of his career. Money-wise, he's the 9th highest paid quarterback in the league, which for the numbers he's producing, I think is a good value. And he's only 32. I mean, even if we say that he's not going to make it to 40, you got 4, 5, 6 more productive years out of Matty Ice before he kind of hits that wall cruising towards 40 that every quarterback not named Tom Brady has hit so far. So again, if I look at Atlanta, and remember last year, I lost my only bet to Mark Ryan last year because I told him that I thought Atlanta was a 9-win ball club. Atlanta, to me's issues have been with the guys in the headsets in the front office, not the guys on the field. I think there are just programs that allow themselves to be coached into mediocrity. I don't say it often, but Atlanta's my number one case of that.
I just, there's just something about it, and you've pointed out that he's been pretty good, but there's something about him that says, I can't win a championship. And I realize it's not all his fault. And you're right. A lot of it has to do with how the team has been managed. But other players in his position would be going, hey, let me go so I can go somewhere where I can win a championship, because they realize that they can't do it where they are. And we're not hearing that from him. I think you got more trade value if you try to trade him than you do Julio Jones.
Oh, I think he has an enormous amount of trade value. I think he has. I think there will be teams lining up for a crack at a year or two with Matt Ryan. But I think it says more about Matt Ryan than Atlanta. I think it says more about what Matt Ryan can do than what they believe the Falcons can. I would absolutely have my team line up. If tomorrow there was a reasonable trade that didn't put the Saints in the dumpster, I would be hollering to bring Matt Ryan down to the ATL. Y'all took Bobby Hebert from us back in the day. We're going to take Matt Ryan from you. I would take Matt Ryan in a heartbeat. If you think Matt Ryan's the problems, we disagree. Now, the problem is, I don't think anybody, I was talking to my buddy Brandon, who's a Falcons fan, a couple of days ago, and he was telling me on his Falcons message boards, there ain't nobody that believes that Julio Jones is a or the problem. He's not. He's not a or the problem. The problem is that Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn were so bad at this gig, were so bad at what they were doing, that now the Falcons are going to have to lose Julio Jones, unfortunately, as a price to pay. They are going to have to lose Julio as a price to pay. And that's unfortunate. Quick break. My name is Rob. He's Alonzo. You got any thoughts? I want to hear what you think your team is setting up for the draft. We'll see if we agree or disagree. My name is Rob. He's Zoe. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Oh, let's see. So, Alonzo, last week on my way here to California, I passed through Abilene, Texas. They are not the platypi, as you guessed so terribly. The platypi. Alan says, unpopular opinion, Kyle Trask ends up being one of the top 3 quarterbacks out of this draft class. With all due respect, there, Alan, not a chance. Not a chance. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the mean guy. But there is a 0% chance that happens. 0% chance, Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask is going to get drafted, and I think he's going to get drafted in a spot that a lot of people are going to be kind of surprised by, but it ain't going to be in the top 3. Or I'll be completely wrong, eat my words, come back on here on Monday and sound like a dunce. One or the other. But I don't see it. I think Kyle Trask is an interesting player to me because Kyle Trask is a guy who's really not being considered honestly at all. And it kind of blows my mind because Kyle Trask has been, if nothing else, very consistent throughout his career. But no, I don't see him going in that spot. What do you think, Lonzo? You got enough Kyle Trask knowledge?
He played for Florida, correct?
Correct.
I have no opinion on that.
Correct. Not first 3 taken, but in a few. Oh, you mean like he'll be a top 3 player? Gotcha. I mean, that's a solid maybe. That's a solid maybe for me. There's certainly that potential for Kyle Trask to be that guy.
Coming back in, we have a caller.
Outstanding.
ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
On our stream at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, we had a comment during our break there from Alan. Alan said, unpopular opinion, but Kyle Trask ends up being one of the best 3 quarterbacks out of this draft class. Thinks that Kyle Trask, the Florida Gator quarterback, has the potential to be he's built for it. All right, he's built for it. 6'5", 236 is a big.
Who's he better than? Is he better than? Will he be better than Trevor?
No, I don't think. I think he could be better than Trey Lance. I think he could be better than Mac Jones. I don't think he will. I'm not saying he will be better than. I think he can be better than those guys. I think my question mark is Justin Fields, right? Because Justin Fields could be Justin Fields could be an absolute stud or a complete bust, Lonzo, and I don't know which way. I'm leaning towards an above average quarterback. I'm not ready to say,
but you could say that
he's a Vic guy.
You could say that about just about any of the quarterbacks, especially the first couple taken, because they're going to a really bad team, and a really good player on a really bad team may not shine.
Justin Fields is a guy to me that is he doesn't have the running style that's quite as big as Cam did out of his first, but he's also not a pure pocket passer. He's kind of right in the middle. And traditionally, guys that are right in the middle of being runner/passer, the NFL doesn't really treat them all that way. You got to be exceptional at one or the other. And I don't see him. Doesn't mean he can't be the breakout. I just think the odds are against him. What's interesting about Kyle Trask, the dude's got prototypical size. He's 6'5", 233, made a bunch of progress last year. The issues I have with Kyle Trask is that he doesn't read things exceptionally well. He doesn't read the blitz well, and he doesn't read hit through his progressions well. You go back and you look at a couple of the games. You look at that LSU game they lost this year, game Florida should not have lost. You go back and you look at that LSU game, and LSU was doing an outstanding job of faking a man-style offense, bracketing in receivers, and Kyle Trask was throwing into bracketed coverage multiple times. He's also not a guy, for being 6'5", 233, that I trust to get down the field a lot. I don't see him as a guy that can take advantage of the field. In fact, he's more statuesque in the pocket than Fields, more statuesque in the pocket than Trevor, certainly than Lance. I would say he's on par with Mac Jones, maybe even a little bit less, and that's going to be his downfall in the draft. Kenneth is on the line. Let's get Kenneth in here, talk a little NFL draft before we get to the break. Kenneth, thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you on the air, bud.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'd like to talk about my Dallas Cowboys. Do you think if we don't get one of the top two cornerbacks, the Horn guy or the other guy, should we trade down and get a corner in the second round and plus other picks? What do you think?
I think you will. I think you will get a cornerback in the draft. In fact, the more I play out the mock drafts, especially with the quarterback run that I think we're going to see early, quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3. If Atlanta trades out of 4, quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the potential at 4 come off the board for there to be a bid war to get into the 5, 6, 7, or 8 spot to take a 5th quarterback. At that point, thanks to Kyle Pitts, Patrick Surtain, and others, the guy that I have right now, and it could change between now and Thursday, but the guy that I've mocked out coming to you guys, considering quarterback seems to be the spot Dallas is going to go, J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, who I love. I love J.C. Horn. I love his play style. He's hard-nosed. He's quick to the ball. He is a ball hawk. He's got a little flash and sizzle to him, and he's built, man. He's absolutely pro. His pro day, if you're marking just on measurables, the guy's an A+. Right now, today, Kenneth, and again, this might change based on if we see any more trades between now and Thursday, which is not off the table. I've got you guys going J.C. Horn out of South Carolina at number 10. Now, if he and Patrick Surtain both come off the board, then you are in the same boat as Carolina, which is how did the quarterback board play out? Your best interest, I think, would be for Atlanta to pick a wide receiver at number 4, to leave a couple of quarterbacks on the board, to have Carolina draft a position player across the offensive line, Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater, to leave either Surtain if Surtain and J.C. Horn off the board, you'll drop back. But I think you're hoping there's going to be a run on quarterbacks that's going to push those guys back, which right now is what I think is going to happen.
Okay. Do you like Surtain better or Horn better?
I like Surtain better. Just a little bit though. It's not like if Surtain's off the board and J.C. Horn is the pick, I'm not wildly disappointed by that. I think Surtain's a little bit better, a little more reliable open field tackler, which in the NFL, and especially in today's NFL, with the fact that more and more mobile quarterbacks are coming into play. I mean, Trevor Lawrence can run the ball. Trey Lance can run the ball. Justin Fields can run the ball. With more quarterbacks becoming far more mobile than they were over the past 10, 15, 20 years, I need defensive backs that are reliable open field tacklers. I think Surtain is a little bit more reliable, which is why I like him a little bit more. But it's not like, tons of separation between the two. If Surtain's off the board and you go with J.C. Horn, you still got a really good cornerback at the 10 spot.
So you think if we fix that defense, Super Bowl or bust?
No, not yet, but I certainly think that I certainly think that Jerry and Steven had better make their case. Right? Here's the thing. Here's the problem, Kenneth, that you guys have. Problem you have. Unlike Atlanta, right? Atlanta's problem for me was head coach, general manager. they were able to change those because Arthur Blank said, okay, that's enough. We're not getting better. We got to make a change. And I think he was spot on. Problem you guys have is that your owner is also the GM and making the decisions and refuses to admit when he was wrong. And therefore, if it is really the coaching, and listen, I think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. I don't think he's great. I'm not putting him up there with the Hoodies and the Sean Paytons of the world just yet, but I think he's a good coach. And but I don't necessarily think he connects with players the way that you almost have to in 2021. And if he's not the guy, and if Stephen Jones ain't the guy, Jerry's not the kind of guy that goes, okay, I made a mistake and fires his own son. He doubles down. And, putting one quarterback into place for you guys on that defense. And by the way, with Sean Lee retiring yesterday, who has been, he's been hurt a lot with 5 ACL tears or something ridiculous. But with Sean Lee retiring, now you got to address that linebacker spot too. You're not in the clear. You have lost another piece yesterday. I don't think you guys are a cornerback away from fixing it. I think you're a good draft and some humility away from fixing it. Offensively, you've got the weapons, but defensively, there's still question marks, and I don't think a J.C. Horn or a Patrick Surtain suddenly solves it and makes you guys guaranteed NFC East champs.
All right, appreciate you having me on.
You got it, Kenneth, anytime, man. Thanks for checking in. Hope to hear from you more often, man. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. You got any questions about your team? Feel free to call in. I'll give you my thoughts on your team. I got 32 teams worth of draft coverage and predictions ready to go. So if you want to talk a little bit about your team, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text the Ingles Market text line at 71307 with your question. I'll answer them to the best of your ability. When we come back in just a minute, I got a handful of texts on the Ingles Market text line. We'll address those to wrap up hour one on the Rob Brown Show with ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Brian, you went to the Dega. How was it, dude? I got to tell you, I thought about going on Sunday. How far is Talladega from here? 5 hours? 4 hours? Anyway, I thought about going. It's 4 hours. Yeah, it's not bad. I love Talladega. I've been to Talladega twice. It is one of my favorite sports activities, mainly because it's a whole event, right? It's not just the race, right? A lot of people hear NASCAR race and they think of shit, but it's not just the race. Talladega is a 3-day party that takes place around the track, and then also there's a NASCAR race. I love the Dega, man. I love the Dega. Steven says, how many monsters a day, Rob? Just the one, but I go with the big can, right? This is this is 24 ounces, so it's 2 regular cans. 2 regular cans of Coke. Regular Monster, I think, is 16. This is 24. I do one a day, but I'm going to go ahead and warn you in advance. If you stick around for the back half, I will likely do 2 today, Lonzo. Because
could you
Fox talking to yourself for 6 hours will wear you out.
Could you wait till 3 o'clock before you do the next one?
Yeah, I got the second one in the fridge right now. If I need it. If I get to 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm still in the zone, I won't go to it. But if I feel like there's a drag coming on, Lonzo, this is my PED right here.
So should I warn Diesel that you're going to be a little bit hyper and he may need to tell you to slow down?
As opposed, Lonzo, to my normally cool, calm, collected, and audibly restricted self.
Yeah, it's a complete reversal of character for you, and I want people to be prepared for that.
Ordinarily, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show sounds like this.
You got to take a deep breath before you do the deep voice golf guy.
Or you might trigger a coughing fit that you may not recover from.
You know what I need from you, Lonzo? Here's what I need from you.
I don't do requests.
All right. But anyway, here's what I need from you. On Saturday, I am emceeing the Triumph's championship celebration before their home match. And I got to do a little hype crowd work. So I need you to give me your best hype up the crowd voice. Like what you go, you got 3,000 fans in front of you, and you need to like absolutely rile them up before the event starts. I need your best PA announcer hype up the crowd voice.
You know what? That many people, I know what you're expecting here, but I probably would pass out from fright. That's way too many people for me to be talking to. Plus, I'm not the hype man. I'm just not that guy. 30 seconds. And I don't know how to hype up a soccer crowd. The football crowd, that's different. It's a soccer crowd.
It's the same thing. It's a sport.
No, it's not. It's not. It's totally different fandoms.
It's absolutely not. And
that is without a doubt.
That's a blatant mischaracterization.
And I'm
been to a soccer game. How do you know?
Because because it's obviously it's a European crowd.
You can read. So he says. Email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show. Local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up hour number 1. The Ingles Market text line is open at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. A couple of texts that have come in so far. At ESPN, by the way, if you missed it, I'm filling in until 6 p.m. today, filling in for Mark Ryan, who is out under the weather. So I got his back today. The Rob Brown Show takes over Offsides. ESPN, who will we hear terrible takes from without Mark? Did he get broken up with? Is he out with a broken heart? Y'all, I can't say anything about Mark Ryan's dating life. Suffice to say, and that's all I'll say about it. All right, those on the stream got it. At ESPN, I've been told you need to call a doctor if you find yourself maintaining it for more than 4 hours. Wow. If you have that reaction to me on the air for 6 hours, you need to see a doctor. All right, you need to see a doctor. At ESPN.
I just want to say, you start talking about Mark Ryan and things always shift a certain direction. Just want to point that out.
Up. All right, I just got fired. That was the last segment.
Really?
There it is, right there. There's me getting my job taken away.
Thank you for that upright take.
Stiff crowd today, Alonzo. At ESPN, my wife denied me loving this morning, but Mark Ryan is out, so it's still a good day. The universe is balanced. So, wow, why are you guys on the Mark Ryan Takeout Express today, man? Why are you guys coming after my dude like that? Just fire today. Rob, in honor of the draft, and since I've got time to do it, Rob, in honor
I need to clarify something. I really need to interrupt you because the way it sounded that you said you said just fire today. It sounded like you said just fired today after talking about Mark Ryan, and Mark Ryan hasn't been fired. He's just sick. I don't want anyone to take it that way.
No, I was saying I was going to get fired after that last round of text message responses.
There was a monster-induced excitement there that caused enunciation to go a certain direction. And I didn't want you to get all these texts and things like that. And, you know.
Text line 71307. Also on the text line at ESPN. Rob, in honor of the draft, what are your 32 top condiments? With my first pick, I am picking Duke's Mayo from Greenville, South Carolina.
Is that what the texter said, or is that your pick?
What the texter said. He's taking Duke's with it. First off, I love that he awarded himself the first pick in the condiment mock draft, by the way. I like that he decided it was his topic and he awarded himself the first pick.
Hey, the followers of Dukes haven't heard their name mentioned in a while, so you got it in there. Way to go.
At ESPN, Rob, love the show, but hockey sucks. Oh, dude, you got to come to a game with me then. Come to a Swamp Rabbits game with me. I will invite you, texter, if you will email me, Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com. If you email me, I will make you a deal. I will get you a ticket to come with me to a Greenville Swamp Rabbits hockey game. All right? I will bring it. The lady friend comes with me, but she's down for like a game a month. because it's like after 2 periods of play, she's kind of like ready, right? If you will email me, robbrown@espnupstate.com, with the phone number that you texted me from so that I know it's you, if you will text me, I will take you personally to a Greenville Swamp Rabbit hockey game, and I will get you into hockey. I can do it. I
By the way, Rob is not saying he's going to purchase a ticket for you, but he will go along with you.
No, I will give him the ticket.
Will you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, if you will email me, robbrown@espnupstate.com with the
wait.
number that
I'm
you
trying.
sent that from.
I'm trying to write this email down.
robbrown@espnupstate.com.
I got it now. I'll be sending you an email soon.
Oh, gotcha. That was you. Got it. 10-4. So I have offered to take you a hockey game. You just haven't been willing to go with me yet.
It's not willing. It just happens to be most of the ones you go to are on Saturday night, and I'm busy on Saturday.
Sunday afternoon, 3:30.
It is
definitely Sunday, but a Sunday.
It's definitely a possibility, and more than likely a definite yes.
Okay, all right. I can get y'all there. Text me with your email me robbrown@espnupstate with your phone number that you texted from, and I will give you a ticket to come with me personally to a hockey game. I got more texts coming in. I will respond the rest of those. I will respond to the rest of your texts when we come back because there's a lot of them. Keep them coming. Look, I'm on air 6 hours today. You guys keep the text line hopping. I'll keep responding to them. The Rob Brown Show. 5 more hours of it comes your way next on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate.
Let's see. Keegan, I am not at liberty to discuss Mark Ryan's dating life, and I don't know if he is even if he discusses it himself. Let me phrase that. I know that Mark Ryan goes into drastic detail of dates gone wrong that he's had because I laugh hysterically at them every time. I don't know if he has discussed his personal life in that level of detail, so I can't go into it in detail. But I can tell you that Mark Ryan is indeed out genuinely sick today. And then Keegan said, wow, Rob is buying the ticket. You can't hide radio money. Keegan, I want you to look at the wall behind me. All right. Does that scream making the big bucks to you?
Well, that depends if those are originals. If those are originals, that could be some expensive artwork back there.
These are flea market finds.
Or so you say.
No, I'm telling you, I wouldn't lie to you about it. I got expensive stuff in the house. It's just all like video game consoles and Fender guitars. All right. That's where there is no, unless you are like Jim Rome, Colin Coward, the big dogs. There is no such thing as big radio money. All right. There's no such thing as big radio money. That being said, Keegan, and you know this from experience, your boy doesn't mind utilizing his own hookups in order to get other people into the local sporting scene. All right? That guy texted, or another guy texted after I said that the guy said hockey sucks, and I said I'd give him a ticket to come with me. The next guy texted and said, hey, Rob, the Super Bowl sucks.
Good move, Texter.
Yeah, right.
Prisma in the next break.
Outstanding. Why do I keep saying the terrible Sean Connery impression today?
You want me to acknowledge that it's good and great job, Rob.
It's not.
It's an excellent job. You don't need to do it anymore. I've heard worse. Is that a compliment? I don't know.
Yes-ish.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text at ESPN. Let's clean up the text line because we got a bunch of texts. Keep those texts coming today, man. I need you guys hop in the text line, the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN because I got 6 hours to go through today. At ESPN, the last one I addressed, guys texted in and said, Rob, love the show, but hockey sucks. And I told that individual, texter, if you will will me, Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com, include the phone number that you texted from, I will get you a ticket to a Swamp Rabbits game. You can come with me to the game. I will sit there, watch the game, share a brewski, talk hockey with you, and I am willing to bet I'm willing to bet you a beer at the end of the game. By the time that it is over, you will, I'm not going to say you're going to be like the world's biggest hockey fan at that point, but I'll say by the end of the game, you'll be interested in coming back to another game. I almost guarantee it. I will bet you a beer at the game that by the end of the game, you will be like, you know what? I would come back for more. I would come back and do this again. I would love to. I will be the Upstate's ambassador to Stick Puck. All right? Be my pleasure. Next texter says, ESPN, hey, Rob, the Super Bowl sucks. Well played, texter. Well played. However, I have not gone to a Super Bowl yet. All right? So if I start offering free Super Bowl tickets, something has happened to me. I've got some sort of brain injury happening that has caused me to say crazy things.
I just want to point out, he said, I have not gone to a Super Bowl yet.
I have not gone to a Super Bowl yet.
There's a little bit of arrogance behind that. Like if I haven't been to the Super Bowl, how could I take you to the Super Bowl?
Correct. So one of the cool things about this job, for me anyway, one of the cool things about this job is the fact that I've gotten to do a lot of really cool stuff. I've stood on the field during a Patriots game and been feet away from the GOAT so far in Tom Brady. I have been on the field and met just about every active NFL head coach at Senior Bowls. I have been to NBA playoff games. I have been to NHL playoff games. I have been to Army-Navy games and got to stand on the field and shake hands with President Obama. I've got to do some incredible things because of this job. It's why I tell people, Zoe, radio is not exactly a gig that overflows the coffers, but I've walked away with some pretty kick-ass memories because of this gig.
Plus all the free pizza you can eat.
Where is this pizza buffet?
Come on. Every remote has pizza.
That's true. That's true.
I
forgot what remotes are, Zoe. It's been a minute. I've forgotten what remotes are.
I was going to say, I recall a remote at a barbershop where I wanted some pizza and you went out and grabbed an entire box and you and I ate it in front of Mark Ryan, who couldn't eat the pizza. And we smiled the entire time.
You know what, Zoe? I just realized we haven't gotten to go on a remote in a year and 3 months, and I'm thinking it might be karma at this point. I don't even believe in karma, and I think it might have been galactic karma.
Hey, if that is the last remote experience I have,
it was a hell of a way to go out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At ESPN, why do you say Matt Ryan, not Ryan? Why do you say Matt Ryan, not Ryan? Asked a texter. The reason I say Matt Ryan, not Ryan, is because years ago, Matt Ryan was getting interviewed, and he got asked a question, and I'm trying to find the clip of it. I'm trying to find the clip of it, but I'm having a surprisingly hard time finding it. But Matt Ryan got asked the question by a journalist who said, I can't remember if he said it. I think he said Matt Ryan, or he said Matt Ryan, and Ryan prefers it pronounce Ryan. Anyway, Matt Ryan said, it's Ryan, not Ryan. And it was just like the weirdest sound clip because he didn't really make a difference in the way that he inflected on that. And it was super awkward for whatever reason. Do you remember that, or am I making something up in my brain hole?
No, since you've been here, I've heard you say that, and I knew if I was patient that someday you would explain it without me ever having to ask you, because I was afraid it was something that I should know and didn't know, and I also thought it might have something to do with Mark Ryan, not Matt Ryan, and I was confused, and I'm glad a texter asked it because now we all know, and now I'm gonna look for that clip and see if I can find it.
I want to say it was Matt Ryan. It may have been somebody else. I've always attributed it to Matt Ryan. It could be somebody else. Now that I'm thinking about it, now I'm thinking maybe I have a false memory planted in my head, Lonzo. You ever had that? You ever had like a false memory pop up? Like you distinctly remember something and then somebody proves to you that it didn't happen? Or you were wrong in your memory?
I'm definitely having more and more of those experiences as I get older, but in my mind, they're just wrong.
You're like, now this texter has me questioning everything I think that I know in my entire, like I'm having an on-air existential crisis at this point.
Not the time to do that when you got
6 hours?
Yeah, you got 5 more hours to go.
Yeah, I got 4 hours and 51 minutes remaining. And I'm having an existential on-air mental breakdown now. I swore it was Matt Ryan that said it's Ryan, not Ryan. But now I feel like I'm making it up. Now I feel like I'm misremembering something. Anyway, a few more texts that have come in at ESPN. As a Panther fan, blank Matt Ryan and Julio. So we have received an inordinate amount of, as a blank fan, blank these other people and or persons and or organizations this week.
I think you should keep track of that number because I think it's the same guy every time.
I might have to. You think it is? I mean, it's a very formatted joke, right?
It is.
We've
it
gotten
is.
it like, I want to say it's like 4 times this week. It's like 4 times this week that somebody has texted in the formatted joke, as a blank fan, blank this other entity.
I wonder if they're also a Wofford fan. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
We've gotten that one. We've gotten, as a Wofford fan, blank Furman in the past, and vice versa. So it must be multiple. What is happening right now? What is happening on the text? 71307 is the text line. 71307. At ESPN, does Atlanta draft Kyle Pitts and trade Julio? That's what I'm thinking, texter. That's the direction I think they're going in, right? You're about to get rid of a 32-year-old, but a 32-year-old all-pro, a 32-year-old top, I don't know, what's fair, Lonzo? Top 6 receiver in the league, top 5 receiver in the league, top 4 receiver in the league? What's a fair spot to put him in?
I would go top 5, and I would also look at potential to be even higher on the list if he had a better quarterback.
All right, so we'll give him top 5. We'll give him top 5. And I don't think it's got anything to do with the quarterback, but again, we'll circle back around to that again at some point in the next 5 or 4 hours and 49 minutes. But anyway, yeah, I think if you're getting rid of Julio and you don't... Here's what I would say, Zoe. If the Falcons are trying to get to a point where Matt Ryan says, you know what, I'm not going to get it here and I want a ring, so I'm out, getting rid of Julio Jones and not replacing him is a really good step in that direction. If I am Matt Ryan, and I genuinely am having question marks about whether I want to stay in the ATL my whole career, and I believe he said in the past that he wants to be a career guy, which you don't see often anymore, right? You don't often see career guys anymore. But if he genuinely wants to be a career guy in the ATL, and they decide to get rid of Julio and not replace him with Kyle Pitts will be available at number 4, all right? But go ahead and call that shot now. I don't think I'm going out on a particularly thin limb to say that Kyle Pitts will be available at 4. We know Trevor's going 1 to Jacksonville. We are 83.6472% sure that Zach Wilson's going 2 to New York. We are 89.6392% sure that San Francisco is taking a quarterback at 3. Now, don't know if it's Lance, don't know if it's Jones, don't know if it's Fields. But they're taking a QB. They didn't trade to number 3 to not take a quarterback, all right? They didn't do it. Which means that Kyle Pitts will be on the board at 4. Now, if the Falcons want to trade Julio because they believe that Kyle Pitts has the talent to replace his numbers at that position and signs a much less expensive contract than the one Julio's under right now, then that makes sense. That would make sense at that point. It would make sense that they make the move. And if I'm Matt Ryan, not Ryan, and I'm sitting there and they get rid of Julio and then they trade down and draft a linebacker, which is a need, edge rusher, which is a need. If I'm Matt Ryan, I'm thinking maybe I do want out, Lonzo. Maybe I do want to go somewhere where I have a shot at winning. Maybe I pull a Russell Wilson and go, yeah, I want to be a career guy, but if you were going to trade me, I would accept a trade to blank, 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 or blank. Because if you're going to get rid of the single most consistent weapon that I have had outside of Roddy White since I got here, if you're going to get rid of that guy and not give me a weapon to replace him, I'll take my talent somewhere else, man. I'll hit the road. And I wouldn't blame him for that, to tell you the truth. And I don't think Atlanta Falcons fans would blame him for that either. Also on the text line at ESPN, pretty sure that was Ryan Sandberg. That would actually make sense, right? That would make sense. If Ryan Sandberg said it's Ryan, not Ryan, maybe that's where I'm thinking of. Maybe I just heard somebody attribute it to Matt Ryan, and then also I'm an idiot. That makes more sense. I've just gone down a rabbit hole because now I'm going to be spending an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out where I picked up it's Ryan, not Ryan. At ESPN, blank Trevor Luzerance. Oh, see what he did there, Alonzo? See what he did? He took Lawrence and they turned it into Luzerance as an insult, Lonzo. He meant to insult Trevor, so he turned Lawrence into Luzerance. Very clever. Very clever joke, Texter. Very clever joke. At ESPN. So I don't think I can say this one. I don't think I say this one. Remember the format joke we mentioned a few minutes ago? Somebody just utilized the Rob Brown Show and Mark Ryan Show involved in that. I'm not going to read it. At ESPN, as a Steeler fan, I can't understand the extension given to Mike Tomlin early playoff exit and the collapse last year. Can someone please tell me how he is still employed? If it was any of the other 31 NFL teams, he would have been cut loose several years back. Don't say, well, he has 2 Super Bowls and never had a losing season. Everyone knows those were Bill Cowher's teams. That's from Big D and Greer. All right, I won't tell you it's because he has 2 Super Bowl rings and has 0 losing seasons. I won't tell you that, Big D. But I don't have anything else.
By the way, I looked it up. There are actually T-shirts that say it's not Ryan, it's Ryan.
So it is a thing, at least.
Yeah,
it is a thing.
So I think that might actually be where you got it from.
Yeah, but where did they get it from? Just a generic shirt for the 18 people in America named Ryan?
No, I think they did it as a result of what you're talking about. I'm trying to find the video or audio of it.
I can't. I thought this was a very popular catchphrase. I thought this was a thing everybody said. And now I can't figure out where in the hell it came from. 844 GSP ESPN. Big D, they gave the extension to Mike Tomlin because he has 2 Super Bowl rings and no losing seasons. I don't know. Listen, last year, Big D, I mean, I guess it was a collapse, Any team that wins 11 games and then bombs the back 5, I guess by definition it is a collapse. But I started telling y'all in week number 9, I started telling y'all that Pittsburgh was the worst 9-0 team that I'd ever seen. And then they won. And then I said Pittsburgh was the worst 10-0 team I've ever seen. And then they won. And then I said Pittsburgh was the worst 11-0 team I have ever seen. And then they lost. And then they lost. And then they got to the playoffs. And then they got hammered by the Cleveland Browns. Hammered by the Cleveland Browns. 48-37 in a game that wasn't particularly that close. Cleveland was playing a lot of prevent at the end. But after they got to 11, they lost 3 in a row. They skated by the Indianapolis Colts. Then they lost to Cleveland in their series finale before they lost to Cleveland in a back-to-back rivalry week in the first round of the playoffs. It was not, this is such a tough spot because on one hand, I believe I subscribe to the thought of you are who your record says you are, right? And an 11-0 team is 11-0. I don't care if they win every game 3-0. They're an 11-0 team. But on the other hand, that Pittsburgh Steelers team last year got to 11-0 and were clearly a mediocre team that just had the ball bounce their way a handful of times, and they proved it in the final 4 weeks of the season, and they proved it by getting curb stomped by the Browns in the playoffs.
Here's what I think happened. Because of COVID, and we talked about how, and we saw for ourselves how teams were not quite there the first 5 or 6 weeks. So the teams that are older teams who have been together for a while played better in the beginning of the season. And I think that's what made Pittsburgh look better than what they were. The other teams caught up because they didn't have training camp. The other teams, the newer teams, caught up. I mean, we saw what happened with Tampa Bay as they got better and better as they had more time to gel. And as the other teams caught up, Pittsburgh stayed the same. They were a mediocre team, but playing against inferior talent for a while because of COVID, and all those other teams just weren't quite there yet.
Yeah, I think there may be something to say. I mean, look, Cleveland was a team that came on late. A handful of other teams came on late. They caught up to Pittsburgh, and you'd like to think if you built an 11-win lead, going 11-0, you wouldn't get caught up with. But that's what happened, and the team clearly deteriorated down the stretch. I also think one of the things I've said for a while that I think that it is important for a head coach, even at the NFL, for an head coach to have a good, functioning, youthful, understanding relationship with his players, right? I think it's important in today's age for coaches to be able to connect with their players more than just on the football field. And somebody will Bill Belichick. What about, what did the Patriots do last year without Tom Brady? What are the Patriots going to do this year without Tom Brady again? The same thing. Miss the playoffs. Calling that shot now. They're going to miss the playoffs. They won't win that division this year. All right. Miami's better than the Patriots right now.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that, and I know that it cost me last year when I disagreed with Mark Ryan on this. But this year they're getting a lot of those players back who opted out, plus all the moves that Belichick made. I think they make the playoffs.
We're gonna talk about it. Suffice to say, though, to finish up the Tomlin conversation before we hit a break, Tomlin has taken that too far, right? That's why you got the Juju went on the beat out on the midfield logo at away games and then losing the game and going live from the locker room and getting them in trouble with the COVID protocols and all that, right? That's going too far. And I think that's part of why the wheels fell off. Let's take a break. I got more text to run through. The Ingles Market text line is open for you at 71307, 71307. Shoot us a text. We'll keep reading those. I got plenty more stuff to talk about as well. Coming up next on The Rob Brown Show, it's ESPN Upstate.
Bizma.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
We're Your health is the most important asset you have in life. It's not a thought, it's a fact. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're unhealthy, you can't use it. Who cares? You can have all the luxury in the world, but if you're unhealthy and you can't take advantage of that, who cares? You can have the greatest family in the world, but if you're not healthy enough to do stuff with them, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Your health is your first priority, and it's the first priority of our friends at Prisma Health. From the moment that I moved here, I had to figure out, hey, who is it that I can trust when I have concerns about my health? And I started looking around, and I started having people tell me, Rob, it's Prisma. Prisma. You got to go to Prisma. Prisma. So I did. I gave him a shot. And I got to tell you, every medical appointment I have needed since then, I have gone back to Prisma Health. Why? Because they care about you as a person, and they care about your healthcare priorities. That's why they have over 2,400 medical providers in their network, so you can find the doctor that's right for you, that you trust for you and your family. They have multiple locations across the upstate and the Midlands, so no matter where you are, they have a spot that is convenient for you. You don't want to have to take days and days off of work for your issues. You want to make sure that there is somebody that you trust and somebody close. And if you go to their website at prismahealth.org, you can scroll through all of their providers and their locations around our area, plus schedule an appointment right there on their website and use their handy My Chart feature, which keeps all of your medical healthcare information streamlined, accessible, and readily available for you and your doctors so you can stay on top of the game. Prisma Health is the official healthcare provider of both the Gamecocks and the Tigers, and they should be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. For more information, go to prismahealth.org. That's prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the upstate. Zoe, do you like going to baseball games?
I've been to a bunch of baseball games in my lifetime, just none lately.
Am I going to get you over to Spartanburg for the opening night of the Spartanburgers?
What night is it on?
30 days from right now.
I was going to say, if it's on a Saturday, then no.
See if I can get the calendar up. I'm going to go as many games as I can. Let's see here.
Does learning a language feel like this? No hablo español. It's hablo.
It's 30 days from today, but I am bad at the math. 7. $14.
Keep in mind how many days are in.
It's on a Thursday night, Lonzo. 27th of April.
I should be down.
Let's go.
1 minute.
C. Keegan's in for some opening night Spartan Burgers action. Bro, I'm telling you, the day those jerseys drop, I'm picking one up.
You can't look like a noob when it's a new team, can you? I don't think you can do that. It's a brand new team, right?
Yeah, but like if you're going to be a fan, you got to get the gear early, man.
Does that make you a trendsetter?
I am, if nothing else, Lonzo, a social media influencer. As long as you ask like the 8 people who follow me on Twitter. Yeah, Hook said, I think that maybe it was Ryan Sandberg instead of Matt Ryan, not Ryan. I thought it was Matt Ryan, not Ryan.
Opinions wanted.
Opinions are like what we say. Everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Welcome in. Good to have you with us. I am Rob Brown. Lonzo back in the network studio. Got our buddy Chris Lewis, the president of the Greenville Triumph, has texted, said they've got us on in the background at the Triumph office as they get ready for the home match opener coming up this Saturday. Your boy will absolutely be in attendance for that one. The G-Men will be picking at number 11. He asked who he thinks the Giants might end up going with at that spot. And I'm intrigued by the Giants because there's a lot of possibilities. So here's the interesting thing about everybody who is from really 5 back. Right? Because Atlanta gets to pretty much call the shot. Atlanta gets to pretty much call the shot as to what happens. If Atlanta decides to pick a quarterback at number 4 and start building for the future, then at that point, a lot of the draft value for the 6 through 15 picks diminish, right? It is the quarterbacks that are available and where they come off the board that is going to determine where the rest of those teams go. If all 5 quarterbacks come off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it kind of changes everything else up. If 2 of them fall, which is honestly what I think happens. All right, here's what I think happens. Here's how my mock draft is set up right now. Trevor Lawrence 1 to the Jags. Zach Wilson 2 to the Jets. Number 3, I've got the 49ers. I don't know if it's Lance or Jones. I'm taking Jones. When in doubt, if there's a spot that I just don't know, when in doubt, I go with the Vegas odds. All right, now, this one's kind of tough and interesting because Vegas has been flip-flopping Justin Fields and Mac Jones to San Francisco over and over, which says to me that the 49ers are doing a really good job of playing their cards close to their vest. Now, we got a report yesterday that said the 49ers are not committed to any particular spot. They are not committed to any particular spot. Now, if that turns out to be the case, then they are going to pick between Jones and Fields, I think. I don't think Trey Lance is in that mix. Now, again, San Francisco beat writers are saying that he is, that there's a 3-horse race for San Francisco at that QB spot. I don't see it. I think it's either Jones or Fields. Either way, when they take a quarterback at 3, it comes to Atlanta at 4. I've got Atlanta going Kyle Pitts. I can't see Atlanta having Julio on the trade block and going anywhere else but trying to replace him in that number 1 wide receiver spot. And Kyle Pitts seems to be the guy that the draft experts say is the pick there, right? Or at least if you're looking wide receiver is the number one guy on the board. That's where it starts to get dicey, right? Because after that, you got the Bengals, you got the Lions, or you got the Bengals, you got the Dolphins, and you got the Lions, 5, 6, 7. The Bengals are going wide receiver. All right, they're going to try to get Joe Burrow a weapon. If Kyle Pitts is on the board, they go Kyle Pitts. If Kyle Pitts is not on the board, I think they go Jamar Chase out of LSU. If not, then they will likely, I think Jalen Waddle, from what I'm getting, most boards have Jalen Waddle ahead of Devontae Smith, even though Devontae is the Heisman candidate. Now, what happens between there and 11 impacts the Giants. That being said, here's what I think the good news is for New York, Chris. I think the good news for New York is that they are probably the first team on the board that need to go defense. I think they need to go defense. I think they're the first team on the board that no matter what, they're taking best defensive player available. On my board right now, I've got them going with Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State. The Giants went heavy in free agency at wide receiver and in the secondary. Those were two of their biggest needs that they would have had to address via the draft. And now the biggest glaring spot is defensively. They have a hole at the middle linebacker spot, and Parsons is that guy. Dave Gettleman said in a press conference earlier this week, quote, "It's really the linebacker fit and the versatility we're looking for with certain players," which to me kind of tipped the cap just a little bit and said that they're looking LB. And I think Parsons is the best one on the board at number 11. He can play a high inside linebacker. He can rush the passer off the edge. When he got to Happy Valley as a 5-star recruit, he lived up to that billing. He also played a lot of defensive end. He's a guy that you can walk up to the line of scrimmage and kind of a hybrid outside passing role. If you want to flip it down and go with a 3-4, you can line him up as an on the line of scrimmage outside linebacker and utilize him as a run stuffer. You can drop him into coverage. Now there's a chance that he will be off the board at that point, but in my mock right now, he's not. And so I've got the Giants at number 11 going Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. The Ingles Market text line is open as well at 71307. I'm with you all the way till 6 o'clock today. So shoot me your text. You got a question about your team, what you think they're going to do in the draft? Happy to answer them. Happy to give you some thoughts on your squad or your rivals. If you got questions about them, text it to the Ingles Market text line at 71307 or give us a buzz at 844-GSP-ESPN. And keep in mind, while we're at it, that your home for this year's NFL draft is ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg. We are your home for coverage for the 2021 NFL Draft, the biggest offseason event in football. Get the most comprehensive and thorough coverage and analysis as it happens. We kick off on Thursday at 7 p.m. with full coverage of the first round on Friday. Round 2, we start your coverage at 6 p.m. and take you till the end. And then rounds 3 through 7 on Saturday at noon. All of it live, all of it in real time on the name you know and trust for the best in NFL coverage. It is ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it, and you can listen to the draft live on the app as well. Quick break. We're back after this on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Oh, man. Hockey guy said he's in to go to a game, so that's good. That's good. Cizo, I'm a man of the people, dude. I'm a man of the people. I'm grabbing another water while we got a break. I shall return very briefly. Zoe's in charge. Enjoy watching him have lunch.
One minute.
Perfect.
Blocked. And remember, anytime I block anybody on the text contest,
See, that's where I went too, and I couldn't find it.
again, take it easy. And got his head blocked. And so he's able to keep your sure you are
out of line. So.
Is coming to the phones. Ryan in Wichita. Ryan, let's see what you got. What's up?
Hey, Jim. Sorry about that text, dude. That was
Sure
a little
are.
out of line. So my dad. And also, I'd like to apologize to your call screener, Rocky Dennis. I told him that I was going to call in to put someone on blast, but I'm not doing that. I think being a big-time Hollywood movie star is making Jay Stu soft. That's it's crazy about those Belgian weightlifters being hopped up on roids. I figured all those guys would the weight bring football's name
Anytime at 71-307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Alonzo at the helm, taking you all the way till 6 p.m. today. Marathon radio, baby. It's not like I don't have anything bad. I don't have anything bad. I don't. I get to hang out, talk sports with you guys.
Don't sell yourself short. You make it sound like you have no life, but you have an awesome life, and you just happen to be a team player. You're ready to jump in there when we need help, and we appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're so nice.
And it's a treat.
That's not true. I do have a really good life, Alonzo.
Yeah, you're planning out all these different games to go to. We know what you got going on Saturday night, so you got stuff to do. So I just, I'm patting you on the back virtually.
Thanks. I appreciate it. At least somebody is. That's not true. I don't know why I keep saying stuff like that. I love my life. I love my job, man. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. The Ingles Market text line is open at 71307. The guy that texted earlier and said hockey sucks, I told him if he would email me, robbrown at espnupstate.com, with the phone number he texted from, that I would take him to a hockey game. By the way, the email address, because I've gotten this asked a couple of times. You guys are welcome to email me anytime you want. My email address is open in public because the more I get to talk to you, the better it is for me. So my email address stays open for you. Rob Brown. There are two B's in the middle of that. ROBBROWN, all one word. robbrown@espnupstate.com. You guys are welcome to email me about anything and everything that you want to. And I will respond to the vast majority of them. I'm not going to say all because sometimes I am just lazy and don't want to. But the vast majority of emails I will respond to. You're all welcome. Anyway, I said if he email me, I'd take him to a hockey game. He has texted back to the Ingles Market text line and said that he is in. We have had another texter that has now texted in and said, can I just buy a ticket and come with you? That sounds fun. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can. I love going to Swamp Rabbits games. I love going to Triumph games. I cannot wait. I have yet to get to go to a Drive game because they didn't have the season last year. But I will be making as many appearances at Drive games as possible this year. And listen, when I tell you guys I'm going to a game, you're welcome to join. Absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. I love the chance to meet you guys predominantly. And if it's at a game, all the better. In fact, the majority of people that I met here, the first time I met them were at different events. Michael Stathakis, met him when I came up here last year, right after I got the job, as a matter of fact. I think it was either the first or it was the first night I was here. The first night I was in town, there was a baseball game. It was Furman taking on South Carolina down at Fluor Field. Met Stathakis and a handful of other listeners there. Met a bunch of listeners at the first Triumph match last year. So, yeah, man, that's my thing, man. That's my bag, baby. That's my bag.
I have a Spartanburgers question. So when we go to this game,
April 27th,
when we go to this game and we're going to get our merch, if they don't have a hat that's a size big enough to fit my head, am I obligated to still buy said hat even though it won't fit?
I consider like hats to me are obviously you wear them, but they're also decorations. Like if you walk into my bedroom here at the Casa de Lovezo, the two of the walls of my room up on the top are just baseball caps, like all the way around. And my goal is to get it all the way around the whole room. In fact, I added a Triumph hat this past weekend. I added a Drive hat a couple of weeks ago. I added a Swamp Rabbits hat. So I've grown the hat collection.
So can you be a
decoration for your man cave as they are heads?
Is hat a sect of nerddom?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's
sports
a
nerd
thing.
Sports nerd. It could be a collector's thing.
I know a lot. I know a lot of non-sports fans that still collect sports hats because they use them as a piece of fashion, right? It's like a fashion piece as much as it is a sports supporter piece.
Well, just in case this person is listening, someone over the weekend questioned if I was really the nerd that I portray myself as, and I would appreciate if you would confirm that for just in case that person is listening.
Who would ask that?
Yeah, it was kind of it was a trolling type situation, I think.
It had to be. Yes, Zoe and I would argue, Zoe, of all the people that I've worked with over the years, and I would tell you as listeners this, that one of the things that I genuinely love about ESPN Upstate, compared to all the stations I've worked at, and I literally mean every other station I've worked at. One of the things that I love, maybe the thing I love the most about this place, the four people you hear on the air locally are authentic. We just are who we are. Diesel, me, Mark, Lonzo, we are just who we are. We don't craft the bad takes for the sake of getting people riled up. And I can verify that because when Mark Ryan and I used to work together years ago down in Destin, we used to absolutely go at each other's jugulars. And it was because of the fact that we were so both passionately authentic about being ourselves and just disagreed on basically everything in the world of sports. Now we still disagree on basically everything in the world of sports. But we also understand that that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Whereas it probably wasn't that way back in the day. Lonzo, when I walked into the office that Lonzo and I used to share 10 years ago? I think Lonzo, we used to share an office now.
10 years, couple months.
Give or take. If you walk into Lonzo's office, his side of the office plastered in nerddom things. Like there is an entire rack full of Funko Pops. He has got posters of video games that I don't even know what the hell they are. There are wrestling posters up that are autographed by wrestlers. In fact, I want to say, and we used to also share an office with Captain America down the hall, Chris Evans, who is now in another office because he's in engineering. He's so much cooler than us now. Whatever, Chris. Anyway, we used to, it used to be whoever came into the office first got to start playing the music, right? And whoever had the music on first, we all listened to their music until we were done. More often than not, if you walked in, Zoe's choice of music, if he was first in the office, were like video game theme songs. Like an entire Spotify station of video game theme songs.
I could listen to the Skyrim theme all day.
Oh yeah. So the answer is yes. Everybody on the station is genuinely, legitimately authentic on the air. I am as big of a loser on the air as I am in real life, and vice versa. That's just how it works. So yes, if you those of you who have been saying that you want to go to a hockey game or a baseball game or a soccer game with me, first off, yes, let's make it happen. Second off, don't be shocked when you show up and I'm just as big of a dork and every bit as loud of a person in real life as I am on the air. All right, just fair warning. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. My name is Rob Brown. By the way, we may have a lead on the mystery of where Ryan Not Ryan came from. We may have a lead. I'm investigating during the break on the live stream. If you want to join us at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, you can listen with me and see if we have discovered the secret. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
All right.
I'm going to Burger King. I'll eat some.
There you go. Now you've done it twice. Started off with knowing full well that if you're going to that was perfect. I've already gone for Travis Rogers, and I'm the program of the game. Somebody's going to couldn't isolate you. I don't want to encourage you. 2 phone calls that you'd have to get through. Not a I mean, come on. I'm going to say it one last time. We can talk Kansas Jim talking about it. He did want to make that.
For those of you that are trying to figure out what I'm listening to,
this is not something I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to make
and why I'm listening to it.
20.
When you
my cherry up in here in the jungle. First off,
you did it. I say that. You were all about.
We are listening.
That you open with
to a call. If you go Google Ryan Not Ryan,
I'm not going to wait to find out. I don't want to find out.
That call to the Jim Rome Show from a number of years ago was the first one that popped up. So I wondered if it came from a caller who said it. Maybe it's got to be from Jim Rome, because the caption on the T-shirt that Lonzo found, and I'm looking at it right now, is a Ryan Sandberg shirt. But the description of it says, Ryan Sandberg, it's Ryan Not Ryan T-shirt, new Jim Rome Chicago Cubs jersey, hashtag Chicago Cubs. Is this a different call?
We'll talk. Yo, Romy. I'm just trying to make sure I got this right. An emailer named Blaze just ripped on hippies. I'll take a look in the mirror with that stupid-ass name. Stick to the B.O. blast, loser. Ryan, Not Ryan in South Bend.
It's not Ryan, it's Ryan.
So, okay, that was the clip. Lonzo, you heard that?
I heard it. See, and I was listening to that earlier, but every time I started listening to it, you asked me a question. So I couldn't really listen to it as thoroughly as I wanted to, but you found it.
Okay, so that's the clip.
Ryan, Not Ryan in South Bend.
It's not Ryan, it's Ryan.
Okay, where is that from? That's the clip, but where is it from?
I don't know, because when you start Googling it and you That's the clip that it keeps coming to. I mean, it keeps coming to Jim Rome, and I hate giving him that much credit because,
To the BO Blast loser. Come on, hypocrite. Stick to the Ryan, not Ryan in South Bend.
It's not Ryan, it's Ryan.
It's not Ryan, it's Ryan. All right, let's see. Here's a thread that's searching for it as well.
All Eagles Pharmacy locations are offering COVID-19 vaccinations to patients age 18 and older. Call your local Eagles Pharmacy or stop by the pharmacy while you shop to get vaccinated. I'm John Mitchell. Welcome to Fate of Fact, Season 1. This series is about how and why fact became a casualty of war in the United States. You can listen to Fate of Fact, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Shining City Audio, a C13 original studio.
All right, that's not helpful at all.
On Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, it keeps bringing up like the same Jim Rome clips, but not
the original. Yeah.
Adjust your plan at any time. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, number NYSE SIPC.
Here's somebody who asked it in a Google answer. Or Yahoo Answer, which might not be available because Yahoo Answers is shutting down in the next few days. Oh.
Yeah, I just went to the same exact place, and it said read only.
All right, found it. Jim Rome says this all the time, but I don't know. Sandberg. Someone was doing an interview with Ryan Sandberg after a game, and he called Ryan, to which he said, "It's Ryan. It's not Ryan. It's Ryan." All right, so let's go back to YouTube and search Ryan Sandberg. I can't find it. So oh my goodness. I'm getting genuinely frustrated now.
If you ever wondered how our crack research staff works, now you've seen it in action.
Looking at it.
30 seconds.
Come on.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
All right, we've had a break in the case, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a break in the case. So the soundbite, we can't find the original source. Now, I found a clip of the bite. This is a bit of a call from the Jim Rome show from back in 2011. Now, it's not the original source of the audio, but you'll hear the clip that I was talking about from the Jim Rome show. This is a bit of a call that has the clip involved in it.
We'll talk. Yo, Romy. I'm just trying to make sure I got this right. An emailer named Blaze just ripped on hippies. I'll take a look in the mirror with that stupid-ass name. Stick to the B.O. Blast, loser. Ryan, not Ryan in South Bend.
It's not Ryan, it's Ryan.
There you go. That was the clip right there. That was the clip. It's not Ryan, it's Ryan. And we have now traced it back to Ryan Sandberg was called Ryan by a reporter, and he said it's not Ryan, it's Ryan, not Ryan. But Zoe and I and Keegan, who have been searching for, I don't know, Zoe, an hour and a half now, cannot find the audio of Ryan Sandberg saying that anywhere.
Yeah, but we are doing something else at the same time. So when we can devote our entire attention, we'll find it.
I've never been so frustrated. Okay, I've been way more frustrated lots of times, but right now I've never been so frustrated. 2 hours down, 4 to go. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, let's see. So, Keegan says, dude, I've searched everywhere for an audio clip like 30 minutes. Yeah, I've been on it for an hour and a half. During breaks, that's what I've been looking for. Can't find it. Is Ryan not Ryan a staple call? So if you haven't listened to the Rome show, so I'm not a big fan of Jim Rome, and I'm not saying that as like a don't listen to Rome. It's not my cup of tea, right? It's not my bag.
I will say that the guy who gave Jim Rome his start is also the guy who gave me my first sports show.
Really?
Yes. And he even talked to me about that and told me, I gave him his start, and now we had to work on it to get it, the first sports show. Right. Finally, he came laughing into the studio and said, all right, you got it. So that's the only thing I like about Jim Rome is that the guy who gave me my first sports show gave him his first sports show. His name was Hal Brown.
So my understanding, and I don't know this to be a fact, I have been told the story that Rome was doing a bunch of small stuff, and then his parents just like bought him a radio station to put him on the air with. And then he created the empire. Well, he and a bunch of other people created the empire that he has going now.
Well, you got to start somewhere. You got to start small, and someone has to give you that first shot.
True story. It does help when you can get bought a radio station, but you also have to prove that you are justifiable for that, whether it's your parents or not. That being said, like Rome's not my bag, but he also was undeniably one of the godfathers of sports talk radio.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
My bad.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, our Thibodeau Trace is on the radio. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. I am Rob Brown. Hello. The great one. Hashtag Dad Kids. Colonel Grudge. The Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate, the conductor of Symphony of Sound. That is the Rob Brown Show. The content cash cow Lonzo is at the helm. Be a part of the show at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. You can text us at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. We want you to be a part of the show, especially today of all days. I'm taking it all the way till 6 o'clock this evening. So I will take all of the help that I can get for the remainder of the 3 hours and 58 minutes I am on the air with you. We have got a bunch of stuff that we are talking about, right? Ton of stuff that we are talking about right now, and I want you to be a part of the program. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307. 71307 is the number. Ingles Market text line, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo One Word, and at ESPN Upstate. And Facebook us at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. All the different ways for you to get in touch with the radio broadcast today. So we've been going through a lot of draft stuff, and I'm going to keep talking draft, obviously, as we're 2 days away from the start of the draft. Keep in mind that the NFL draft will be live right here on your home for complete, comprehensive, and live coverage of all 7 rounds of the NFL Draft starting Thursday at 7 p.m. with the first round. Second round Friday starts at 6 p.m. here on ESPN Upstate, and then all day starting at noon on Saturday, we'll have every one of the final rounds, the third day rounds, on Saturday live right here on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and all around the world on the Odyssey app. Download it now, the Odyssey app, AUDACY, your home for all the podcasts, music, sports, and news that matter to you. And, of course, the one place that you can take ESPN Upstate in your pocket with you. Plus, go to our website at espnupstate.com, espnupstate.com. Right there at the top in the middle is a button that says podcast. You click on that button, you can download and listen to on demand every hour of the Rob Brown Show with me and Lonzo, Offsides with Diesel and Mark Ryan. So if you can't listen to all 3 hours every day, you can listen to them whenever else you want to by going to espnupstate.com, clicking on the podcast link, and downloading those hours as you go. Coming up on Saturday evening, very excited, as home match number 1 for your Greenville Triumph will take place at Legacy Early College. The Triumph opened their season with a 1-0 road win against the Richmond Kickers. Cesar Murillo was shown his second yellow card of the game about 10, 12 minutes before the first half ended. The Triumph had to play with 10 men, down a man the rest of the night, still able to collect their first clean sheet, still able to collect their first dub of the season, and now tied for first place at the top of the table as they get set to take on North Texas FC on Saturday night. That Richmond game against the Kickers up in Virginia was an interesting one. It was one that, honestly, the Triumph likely deserved a goal in the first half. The majority of the possession was played inside of the Richmond defensive side of the field, inside of the Triumph's attacking third. They spent the majority of the time on the ball, a very controlled pace of play, a very deliberate style of play out of the League One champs. The Triumph worked the ball back and forth across the field really well, and they just waited and waited and waited to catch Kickers defenders out of position. They forced on the defensive end Richmond to play very sloppy soccer, which was exactly what you wanted to see. In match number 1, Max Hemmings had a really good opportunity midway through the first half. He was unmarked, had a free header on the back post. It was snatched by a tremendous save from Richmond goalkeeper Akira Fitzgerald, who had a phenomenal match. 6 shots on goal for the Triumph. He made 5 saves. The own goal was the only one surrender, but as I've mentioned a few times, the key word in the phrase own goal is the word goal. After we went man down, though, after that point, it had to be deliberate for the Triumphs. It had to be well-timed for the Triumph. It had to be perfectly executed from the Triumph. There was no margin for error down a man, and they were able to do it. Andrew Booth found the well-timed diagonal run of Lachlan McLean, put him behind the Richmond back line down on the right flank. McLean served a dangerous cross into the box, and Luke Pavitt, the retreating Richmond defender, tried to clear it to the right of the goal, but didn't get enough of an angle off the boot, went into the back of his own net for an own goal. It was the definition of adversity for the Triumph, and they rose to the occasion, which was exactly what you wanted to. That's the type of game, that's the type of match that makes you your defending League One champions. That's the type of match that makes you a champion. That's the type of win that you have to have. You know, Zoe, we've talked about championship teams. We talk about championship teams every year, and I've always heard the phrase in the past, championship teams win all the games they're supposed to and half of the games that they're not. Well, I got to tell you, that was not necessarily a game by definition. Richmond's a very good side. That was not by definition a game that the Triumph were supposed to win. And especially once they went down a man, once that red card was shown to Cesar Murillo, and once Greenville was playing with 10, it very quickly floated away from the area of game you're supposed to win and into the area of game you're not supposed to win, playing against a good Richmond side, down a guy. That's on the road in the rain, by the way. Very tough proposition. The fact that they walked out of there not with a 1-point draw, but with a full 3 points for the victory, down a man in the rain on the road against a very good Richmond side. So listen, I mean, we've got one match. It is way too early in the year to start declaring that the Triumph are already the best team in USL League One and definitely already on their way to reclaiming a title for a second time. But the fact that they went out there, faced that level of adversary in match number 1 on the road and walked away with a win over one of the better teams in the league, I got to tell you, Zoe, I was confident in this team before the season started. I feel real good headed into week 2 against North Texas back home this weekend.
It's championship mentality, and it's a team that's still hungry and wants more. And you talked about early on how everyone there is saying, hey, we're not satisfied, we want more. And that's just proof. You start out this way, being down a man in adverse weather, and you win a game that maybe you shouldn't have won. And it's championship mentality.
Yeah, we talked to John Harkes a couple of weeks ago. We talked to Noah Pilato last week. Both of those cats spent some time with us, and they both had a very similar take, which is we are not here, and we've talked about this a couple times, we are not here to defend our trophy. Our trophy's already ours. You can't take it. We are here to attack and go win a second one. And I think you saw that. Most teams, I think, in a situation that the Triumph found themselves in this past Saturday evening, most teams would have been very happy to park the bus, play the majority of the game in the defensive third, back their attackers, back their midfield up to a defensive spot, prevent Richmond from getting a go-ahead goal, and would have been more than satisfied to take a 1-point draw. Walk out of there with a point, walk out of there with a 0-0 draw. As a matter of fact, I was sitting at a table with a handful of members of the Reedy River Riot, the supporters club, and one of them kind of sat back in his chair after the red card was shown to Murillo and said, guys, it's a little less exciting when you're playing for a 0-0 draw. It's a little less exciting when you're playing for a 0-0 draw. And that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like the Triumph were in a spot where it would be reasonably expected for them to try to take a 1-1 draw and end the match that way. But they didn't. They attacked. They sharpened up the attack. They were very efficient on the attack. They were very intelligent. It wasn't a lot of speculative throws into the box and let's see what happens. They were deliberate runs. If the run wasn't there, they backed it out. They reset. They tried another attack. If it wasn't there, they backed it out. They reset. They tried until they found one that worked. And that pass to Lachlan McLean, who got a great shot on goal, got the assist from the defender who netted the own goal. That goal would not have been there if Greenville had decided to park the bus and just spray and pray it down the field. That goal was the result. That's why I'm saying that goal, as much as people like to dog on own goal wins, that goal was deserved. That goal would not have been there if it wasn't for the attack of Lachlan McLean and the read to get the ball up the middle of the pitch and onto his feet. It wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for good, intelligent, well-executed offense. Now they get to bring it back home. They're expecting, I would expect probably around 1,400 people at Legacy early. It's going to be the most normal soccer match that these guys have played in the better part of a year and a half. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking, and the squad's going to be on their back. The sides of the crowd's going to be on their back. Now the question's going to be, can they maintain that level of discipline in front of a home audience? Now the question's going to be, all of that discipline we saw when they were on the road and there was an enemy crowd and it was raining and they were down a man. They played discipline. They executed. The timing was there. Will that translate to being back home? Will that translate to having good weather this weekend? Will that translate to having the crowd? Or will the energy get to be too much? And I'll tell you this, from all the times I saw this team last year, they absolutely thrive on the energy of Legacy Early College. They absolutely thrive on it. But they don't let it get them out of line. They don't overextend. And that's what we have to see this weekend. Keep in mind, new year, new team, new roster, and there are a handful of guys like Dom Smart out there playing out of the midfield, guys that are still learning the chemistry of this team, and this is the first time that they are going to play, at least as a good guy, here in the upstate. So, I actually thought it was a good thing that they got to go play on the road in week one. Build that chemistry in the face of adversity. Don't try to be building chemistry while you've got the crowd in your back and you're excited and the adrenaline's pumping. Build it on the road where you're getting booed, you're getting yelled at, you're getting taunted. Build it on the road. They did that. And now they get to bring it back together and see if they can translate that back in the house. And I'm pretty excited about it. Saturday night, 7 o'clock kick. Really, really excited about being back at Legacy Early College for Triumph home match number 1. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Take a quick break. We'll come back. I've got so much to get through in the third hour, y'all. And we'll start it next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
QC Kinetics.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Speaking of soccer, coming up on Saturday before that match, there's going to be a meetup of some of the folks from North Texas FC, some of the supporters coming to town, some of the Triumph supporters, to play a little pickup soccer. And I got to tell you, I'm very, very excited about getting out there and running a little bit. Hadn't got to play soccer in a while. I am also terrified of the fact that usually after I play a match of soccer, the next day my knees hurt and my hips hurt because I am well old and things fall apart the older you get. That's why we've partnered up with our friends at QC Kinetics, because QC Kinetics understands how your body heals itself, that natural healing power. And they take bio-orthopedic approaches to helping you feel better, faster, naturally without surgery. These are non-surgical regenerative therapies. They understand the way that the cells work inside of the tissues in your joints that help to cushion and prevent that inflammation, which causes the pain. They understand how they are utilized. They understand how they work as far as healing and repairing the damage done that causes that inflammation and pain. And they have put together a system that allows you to get past that pain without having to get sliced and diced. Do you want to learn more? Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? QCkinetics.com, QCkinetics.com, QCkinetics.com. Go there. You can learn all about the science, read dozens upon dozens of testimonials from people who say they feel better. Or give them a call right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first free consultation and learn how you can feel better sooner naturally with our friends at QC Kinetics right here in the upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me
Hey, Rob.
It's this and every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offside with Mark Ryan. This Thursday will be at 211 Ingalls Plaza in Seneca. Brought to you by Ingalls Markets on ESPN Upstate. It's time for some straight talk.
1 minute.
Cool.
I DM'd you something on. Also, what the heck is Bushy McBush race? How dumb is that? I keep hearing this.
What?
The Bushy McBush race?
I don't know what that is. Bushy McBush race.
Yeah, the Sports Flash keeps talking about it coming up this weekend.
I can't hear the sports flashes, so.
I know, but I figured you would know what that is.
Bushy McBush race.
It's
the NASCAR race. Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, Bush beer is.
I see the spelling now, but it sounds really stupid. Yeah, check out that article if you get a chance, especially the top 10 or whatever.
In exchange for a $1 donation to the Farm Rescue Foundation, NASCAR fans were allowed to submit ideas to
Of course.
name their first race at Kansas Speedway. Farm Rescue.
Filtered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Lonzo said to me off the air on the stream during the break something about the Bushy McBush race. That is the name of the NASCAR race that is being run this weekend. It is the Bushy McBush race in Kansas City, Kansas. And of course, if you Google Bushy McBush NASCAR race, you know what the first article that comes up is, Lonzo. Why is it called the Bushy McBush race? And once you read the answer, it's kind of cool. In exchange for a $1 donation to the Farm Rescue Foundation, which is an organization dedicated to the support of farmers and ranchers in economic need, Bush allowed NASCAR fans to submit ideas to name their race. So it would be the blank race presented by Bush. Well, because internet fans love nothing more, Lonzo, more than pushing a dead meme to its extreme, they decided to narrow it down, and they picked 4 votes to allow NASCAR fans to vote on to decide which one it should be. And the 4 names that they selected as the final 4 were the Bush Latte 400, the Nectar of the Cobs 400, the For the Farmers 400, which is, a nice, professional, representative name for a race, and the Bushy McBush race. And this is going to shock you, Lonzo, but the Bushy McBush race won in a freaking landslide because the internet does not like to let memes die.
Of course it does. Is Jeff Gordon or Dale Jr. still on the announce crew? I mean, I don't know who is on the announce crew.
Jeff Gordon is, yeah.
So how many times will Jeff Gordon say Bushy McBush race before he cracks up?
1. Can I set the over-under at like 0.25 in that he won't even get through the first one? Bushy McBush race.
Reminds me of Bodie McBoatface. Just another one of those wonderful things. This is why you have someone to name these things, and you don't leave it to other people.
In fairness, though, I respect that they went through with what they said. They said, we'll let y'all name it if you will donate to the farm organization, and they did. They let them go through with it. Y'all they picked something dumb. And look, the Bodie, if you missed the Bodie McBoatface scandal a few years ago in London, there was an Antarctic research vessel that was christened in the UK, and it needed a new name. And so they ran a contest where they allowed readers of some, I don't know which newspaper, but some newspaper, the Daily Mail or something, I don't know. They let some newspaper voters, readers, vote on the name. And the name Bodie McBoatface won in an absolute landslide. Well, the powers that be said, no, chat, that's too silly, which is the way that all British people speak in my head. They said, nope, that's too silly. And they ended up naming it the HMS Richard Attenborough, which is fine because Richard Attenborough is like up there with Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers in terms of best people who's ever lived. All right. It just is. It's like the Trinity is like Bob Ross, Mr. Rogers, Richard Attenborough. LeVar Burton is an honorable mention. I'm trying to think of who else will be on the list. That's pretty much the list. Oh, Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. He's on that list too. That's the 5 greatest people who have ever lived. And they said, no, we're not letting you name our multi-million-dollar Antarctic research vessel, Bodie McBoatface. So they named it the Richard Attenborough.
So they lied.
Correct. Bush Beer, because, and here's a sentence I've never said before and likely will never say again, Lonzo, Bush Beer has integrity. Integrity. So they said, because we got integrity, we're going to allow you to pick the name, and even if it is Bushy McBush Race, we're going to let it stand. And they did, Lonzo. The internet spoketh, and Bush Beer honored their commitment. And Lonzo, I respect that.
You know what? There's a whole lot of, you see, polls pop up on social media all the time. You look at them and go, well, that's stupid. I'll vote for that one. How many people did that? Going, there's no way they'll pick that. Why is that even on the list? Yeah. Because no one legitimately said, wow, that's a great name. I'm going with that one.
I think they went, wouldn't it be hilarious if we made Bush name their race Bushy Hey, I'll say this, Lonzo. At least they had the common decency to allow it to be Bushy McBush Race as opposed to Beery McBeer Race, which would be far more in line with what the internet ordinarily does. All right?
Yeah. And here's the other thing. I would completely respect it if the powers that be did that on purpose just to troll their own announce team.
Yeah. Yeah, they knew what they were doing when they went with Bushy McBush. See, because here's the thing. They could have picked anyone instead of Bushy McBush Race and just been like, hey, you guys voted it, but they didn't. So they honored their commitment because they got integrity.
See, that's the kind of thing that I would go out of my way and do my best to make something like that happen. So Mark Ryan would have to say that multiple times. I would absolutely do that.
Look, we have broken down Talladega, Daytona, Charlotte, Atlanta. And whenever we talk about the Talladega race, I don't mention the sponsors. I just say, all right, last weekend we raced at Talladega. Brad Keselowski with the big dub. Joey Logano turned his car upside down. Oops, thanks to a little help from Denny Hamlin. So this is going to be the one race outside of the even the Daytona 500. I mean, we don't see the what is it? I don't know, sharper image Daytona 5. I don't know what it is. It's not sharper image, but you get what I'm saying. I said this is gonna, and this works. So this is why it's brilliant. This is the one race of the year that I will refer to only by its sponsor name, right? Only. They work their name into the title, which is good, right? There's one or two, like the Folds of Honor 500. I'll mention that one because Folds of Honor is a great organization, and I fully support them. But outside of that, right, we don't mention the Sharpie 500 at Bristol. We just say the race at Bristol. We don't mention the Food Mart 400 at wherever that one's run. We don't mention those. But we will all, at least those of us that talk NASCAR on the radio, so we will all be mentioning the Bushy McBush race all week this week and at least all week next week. And hopefully something really cool and memorable happens so that, because I would love to be a 65-year-old sports talk radio show host sitting there and going, oh, but back in 2021, they ran the Bushy McBush race. It'd be great.
You sound like Grandpa Simpson right there. I just want you to know that it wasn't bad. I got to say they got me because I normally wouldn't watch a NASCAR race, but I'm going to. Well, I just want to hear him say it once, then I'll turn away. But I just want to hear him say it once and see how they can do it and sound serious. They're going to make a joke out of it. That's the only way you can do it. There's no way you can be serious journalist and say Bushy McBush. You just can't do it.
Now, granted, Alonzo, you are, I suspect, out of the demo that the Bush beer folks are trying to reach. However, there's 100,000 other Zoes around the world that are going to go, wait. The Whatty McWhat race? Yeah, Bodie McBoatface and now the Bushy McBush race. Yeah, I'm going to have to tune in to see how that goes.
When I hear our Sports Flash guy talking about races, I usually just don't even remember them. But as soon as I heard this, I was like, okay, I'm going to remember this. I am definitely going to remember this.
Yep.
Now, will it be called that again next year?
Yep.
Okay.
The Bushy McBush race shall live on forever. Even if they don't call it next year when we go to Kansas, Lonzo, here's the thing. If you are if you are a major corporation in America and you have been looking forward to sponsoring a race and next year Bush doesn't sponsor this race, don't spend your money to sponsor the race at Kansas next year, ladies and gentlemen, because it forever and always shall be known as the Bushy McBush race.
Hey, do fans at NASCAR races, do they bring signs?
No. I'm trying to rack my brain. I've been to like 5 races, and I'm trying.
Okay, I'm just curious what the Bushy McBush signs would look like. So, yeah.
Some of them would be wildly inappropriate.
Yes, probably.
The rest of them would be about beer.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, on Monday, full breakdown of the Bushy McBush race. 100%. 100%. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, NBC has elected to drop all NHL coverage after the NHL has moved over to ESPN and the Turner Bill. They had the option to be a co-partner, but they have elected not to carry. I think this actually could work good for the NHL. This will actually help grow the NHL. Why? I'll tell you that next on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Oh, yes, Her Majesty Bushy McBush. The Bushy McBush race. What a name. Well done, Internet. Well done. All right, let's take a look at this thing you sent me, Zoe. Let's start at the bottom. All right, top draft prospects as rated by their college production. Trevor Lawrence 1, Justin Fields 2, which I think, I don't know, Zoe, like, there's not really, everybody either thinks Justin Fields is the second best quarterback, or he's like going to fall to 20.
They're looking at, as far as that thing goes, they're looking at production. I mean, actual what they did when they played in college. And there's some names in that list that are a lot farther down than where they'll probably be drafted, which makes you wonder, does it have to do with need, or does it have to do with something that these players did to make them fall out of favor? I don't know. Justin Fields has been up and down this entire time, and no one can explain why exactly.
All right, I'm going to tell you, Zoe, real quick about the dumbest fight I've ever had between two coworkers. One of them I thought was clearly in the wrong, but I didn't pitch in. And I want you to tell me if you think the other one had a valid A, complaint, or B, comparison. So about, God, this would have been 11 years ago. I had two co-hosts. I was producing and co-hosting the morning show. There were two other guys on it. And leading up to the Kentucky Derby one year, one of my co-hosts, there was after the Derby, remember when the horse named Eight Bells broke its leg and they had to euthanize it on the track at the Derby? Like they covered him up with a tent and euthanized him?
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. So the next day on my radio show, one of my co-hosts who was vehemently anti-Derby said, this year's Kentucky Derby brought to you by Kibbles and Bits, now with 8% more horse meat, right? And some people thought it was really funny. Those of us who hate horse racing thought it was very funny. Zoe clearly thinks it's at least a little funny. The other host said that it was distasteful, immature, and that 8-bill.
This is a sports show, right?
Yes.
So the sports show was known for maturity.
Right. So while the other host was a guy who liked to really pretend like he was, and he wasn't, and I can explain why later, but like pretend that he was like a real grown, good Christian man adult. He was never going to participate in juvenile humor, which was silly. Because he wasn't that at all.
30 seconds.
Anyway, he got very offended, and then he said that 8 Bells in the Derby should be treated with respect, and that 8 Bells' death was comparable to Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s death at the Daytona 500, and that it should have been treated the same way. And they ended up in a fight and never appeared on the radio again together after that. That's ridiculous, right?
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Hey, real quick, we got this earlier in the show, or earlier in the week, and I thought it was very, very cool, and wanted to bring it up to you. The folks over at the First Tee of the Upstate, we had Michael Pius on, who is the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate. The First Tee is a really, really cool charity who use golf and open up the world of golf, which is not a crazy accessible sport, unfortunately, for a lot of folks. But they take kids from around the Upstate. It's a national organization, but they do it in local communities. Anyway, they take kids from the Upstate and they introduce them to golf, but they do it more than just like, hey, come play golf, it's fun. They actually use it as a way to teach them life lessons. They actually do it in a way that teaches them discipline and respect and time management and all these different life skills that will help them be successful contributing members of society, which is very, very cool, right? And I have been a big, big supporter of the First Tee of the Upstate for many, many years. Well, coming up on Saturday is their Kentucky Derby rally. They do a huge viewing party down at Floor Field. It's very, very cool. It's going to be on May 1st, this Saturday. It is a Kentucky Derby viewing party. They put it up on the Jumbotron at Fluor Field. It's the biggest TV in the upstate. They're going to have socially distanced crowd out on the field at Fluor Field, so you'll be able to walk the field. They are going to have artists and concessions. It's a very cool event to raise money for the first tee of the upstate. Well, in gratitude for all the listeners of ESPN Upstate who have supported the first tee, they have offered a discount to our listeners for tickets to the Kentucky Derby viewing party. If you go to their website at firstteeupstate.com, firstteeupstate.com, you can purchase tickets to the Kentucky Derby viewing party, which is raising money for the first tee of the upstate. And if you enter the promo code ESPN, they are giving you $10 off the ticket of your choice, whether it's a VIP ticket or a general admission ticket. If you go to their website at firstteeupstate.com and you enter in the discount code ESPN on their website, you will get $10 off the ticket of your choice. So you can get a VIP ticket for $115, which comes with a whole lot of perks, or you can get the general admission ticket for just $50. It is the Kentucky Derby watch party of the area. I have heard incredible things about it over the years. I will be there for the first hour and a half or so of the event, but go to their website, firstteeupstate.com, and use the discount code ESPN. You're going to get $10 off of your ticket to their huge Kentucky Derby watch party this Saturday. It's an awesome event. We are grateful to them for offering this discount. And remember, the money that you use goes to the first tee of the upstate, which is a phenomenal charity for youth here in the upstate. Go to their website, firstteeupstate.com, get your ticket, use the discount code ESPN, and get $10 off of that ticket. NBC has been broadcasting the National Hockey League exclusively for the past 16 years, but that is done after this season. A person with knowledge of the situation confirmed to USA Today earlier today that NBC would not be picking up the NHL moving forward. Now, the NHL, we talked about this a while back, the NHL has moved to ESPN as their primary broadcast partner starting next season. They will also have some of their rights that are going to be given to Turner, the Turner platform, which means that there are a number of Turner outlets, specifically digital, that will be broadcasting NHL games moving forward as well, which I think is great. I think this is big time for hockey. And I'm very excited. I think this is a huge thing for the NHL. Now, here's why. NBC, the NHL and NBC has been a stalwart for, like we mentioned, 16 years. Doc Emmerich's voice has become the voice of hockey. Now, he retired, so it's time to move on. And we've moved all the way away from the network itself. Why is it good for the NHL, though? Here's why. Because the coverage on NBC has staled, all right? It had gotten to a point where they had really kind of plateaued. Their coverage was their coverage, and it was just their coverage. They didn't have anything outside of their obligatory coverage of the NHL. They didn't add anything. They didn't go out of their way. It wasn't pimped on other channels. It wasn't like they broke into NBC's primetime programming to bring you NHL games. I mean, basically, you were lucky if you got a late night left coast game, and maybe you got a Saturday weekend game, and the rest were on the NBC platform, on the NBC streaming platform, and on Peacock. And they didn't really promote it there either. I have Peacock. I never opened up Peacock and saw NHL as one of their trending things where they were trying to put it in the face of people who might be mildly interested and go, well, there's nothing else on tonight. I'll go ahead and I'll watch hockey. ESPN will do that. ESPN is going to do that. ESPN is not only going to start playing games on the big stick, and it won't be often because remember, the NHL does bat up against baseball, and the baseball contract is just bigger than the NHL. So baseball will get priority, but there will be nights where they will go a hockey baseball doubleheader. There will be nights that they will throw hockey up on Saturdays when there's not much else going on. But more importantly, ESPN streaming platform is much more readily accessible and much more utilized than sports fan. A sports fan doesn't really have anything compelling them to, they don't really have anything that compels them to get Peacock, right? Lonzo and I are fans of a lot of shows. But if I'm just doing my sport, I don't have any reason to pick up Peacock, right? That's for The Office and Parks and Rec, not hockey. If I'm an NHL fan, if I'm a sports fan who might just dabble in hockey occasionally, it's much more likely that I have the ESPN app and I check in on the ESPN app to see what's on far more than I do the NBC app, especially since NBC Sports app does video clips but not full games, right? So this, to me, is good for ESPN. It would have been great if NBC would have kept them on as a secondary partner and maybe got a couple of Stanley Cups here and there, some playoff games, whatever. But moving to ESPN is the right decision because now it's going to end up being in front of sports fans who may dabble in hockey, as opposed to NBC, where all they did was cater to the people who were already watching hockey. And as I showed you earlier in the first hour of the show, if you give people a reason to watch hockey that is more than just, hey, hockey's good. You know what the way I've gotten people to watch hockey, watch soccer, watch curling is over the years? It hasn't been by just going, hey, it's on channel 40 tonight. It's by saying, hey, I'll give you a ticket to the hockey game if you come with me. And then you talk to them about the game and show them your love of the game and you show them the rest of the people's love of the game and you explain the game and you explain the rules and how it works and all that. And once you do that, that's where the love of the sport comes from. NBC basically said, hey, if you like hockey, we have it. ESPN's going to go, just like they do with a lot of other sports, hey, maybe you're not a big hockey fan, but here's some hockey and here's why you should be and here's why it's exciting. Plus, on top of that, the NHL is going to get much more coverage on Sports Center and First Take and all that now that ESPN can make money off of it as well. So I think exposure and education to a new crowd is the number one way you get people to grow their interest in a new sport. Moving over to ESPN is the best way for the NHL to do this. I commend. I don't say very good things about Gary Bettman, honestly, very frequently. But I commend Gary Bettman and I commend the NHL for making the move over because this is going to open them up to an audience that might be willing to dabble in hockey, but just hasn't in the past because it's just been very stagnant coverage on NBC. I think this is good.
It's definitely a good move, but I read an article this morning that it may hurt something that you dearly love by making the move, especially with the TNT TBS tie-in, that AEW may have to move off of Wednesdays because of this deal.
I'd be interested. I think AEW, I think last Wednesday, though, Dynamite was the number 2 watch program on Wednesday night. Non-primetime. Number 2 non-primetime watch show. It outpaced every news talk show. It outpaced every CNN, Fox, MSNBC show. It outpaced every late night comedy that was on against it.
And yet it may be moved for hockey.
I mean, maybe, but I doubt it, and here's why. TNT's making, scratch that, TNT is growing the amount of money that they're making off of it, and they're seeing an upward trend, which is good. But the fact that TNT is the second, if TNT was the primary NHL partner, I'd think that was right. But they're a secondary partner. They get the secondary choice of games. So I doubt they might, but I doubt they'll preempt it often. I doubt it. We'll find out, though. And even if they do, if I'm AEW, put me back on Tuesday nights. Put me head-to-head with NXT. I've already run them off a 1 week night. Let me run them off another one. See if I can pull it off. Why the heck not?
Yeah, but NXT moved to Tuesday nights because of hockey.
I mean, yeah, but also because they were getting smoked head-to-head with AEW.
You can say that, but it was because of hockey, because of the deal. That's the reason why they had to be moved, because their slot was going to be there because of hockey. But now that deal fell through, so maybe they move back to Wednesday, and AEW moves to Tuesday.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think we can turn anything into a wrestling conversation, here we are. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Twitter trending topics to wrap up the first 3 hours. Next, this is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app.
1 minute. Hey, man, you're almost halfway done. Way to go.
Almost.
Ran into a person in the hallway who was unaware what the procedure was going to be.
The procedure?
Trying to be vague here. You're not, as far as what's going on in the next 3 hours.
What's going on? Was it Diesel? Did Diesel
Again, try to be vague here.
I'm not.
I can't. We'll just say just Greg.
Just good old Greg. Just Greg.
It's time for a rest-full of summer adventure. Hurry in today and grab the new Summer Blizzard menu. Only at your DQ. Happy tastes good.
And now, The Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internets, and he will tell us all, regale us with all the things that he knows about said topics. I got to warn you that there are some really hot trending things that I'm completely avoiding because they're big time political. Okay. And yeah, it's not other stuff. I will go there before I go politics. Fair enough. All right, the first thing that's trending is Chris Sims.
Chris Sims is trending. I'm hoping it's just because he has terrible draft takes. I'm really hoping it's because how bad his takes are. Chris Sims has been one of the guys that has been throwing out really, really bad takes. And I saw earlier that he had Justin Fields falling to 32 and going to Tampa, which is impressive, Zoe, because not only is it dumb, but it's dumb in two different ways. Like he managed to be wrong twice in the same sentence. Not only is there not a chance in hell Justin Fields has fallen to 32, but if he did fall that far, he's not going to Tampa Bay of all teams. Chris Sims at this point, like, you know how when there's a baby and the baby starts like screaming and crying and the parents are like, don't indulge him because he's just looking for attention. And if you give it to him, it'll make him do him more. That's Chris Sims with his mock draft right now, Zoe.
And that's exactly why it's trending, the fact that he had Justin Fields at 32. But you know what? That wouldn't be a bad deal for Justin Fields.
No, man, a year behind Brady would be. I would take that if I was going to be first overall, and you said I could drop to 17, 20 and have a year behind Brady. I mean, if it was more about the money or more about the game than the money, that'd be great. But that's dumb for two reasons. Chris Sims should just come on TV wearing a sign that says, I'm desperate for attention. I have seen women on Instagram hunger for attention less than Chris Sims right now.
I'll take your word for it. All right, the next thing that's trending is Lightning McQueen Crocs.
Lightning McQueen Crocs. Well, I don't know why it's trending. I am unsure why it's trending. But I can guess that somebody has released Lightning McQueen themed Crocs. If you're an adult and you're wearing Lightning McQueen themed Crocs, I don't know.
Well, let me cut you off there. Unlike Rob, I won't judge you by what you wear. If you want to wear Lightning McQueen Crocs, that's fine. I mean, that's on you. And if you get some ridicule, you got to be ready to take that. But the reason why it's trending is because they were available and sold out, and people are upset that they were sold out.
Wow. Like, I'm assuming they came only in kid sizes.
No, these are adult. These are adult
I knew
Crocs. So you're anti-Croc, aren't you?
No, like if you're fishing, Crocs.
Can you be from Florida and be anti-Croc? Is that possible?
If you're on a boat, Crocs are great, but are they everyday footwear? No, absolutely not. Also, yesterday I was at the gym, Lonzo, and there was a guy doing squats on the squat rack, and I noticed before, like I saw him, I turned around and I saw him wearing Crocs while pumping out squats. And I immediately was like, this dude wore Crocs to a gym. All right, listen, jokes aside about where and when Crocs are and are not acceptable, that's fine. But I think to the gym to do squats is the number one place they're not. And then I looked, this dude was jacked and squatting like 490. So it's like, I can't say anything.
Yeah, it's like, say something.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you can do that, yeah.
Idiot who is lifting the entire rack of weights up, you're dumb for wearing Crocs. No, because that guy could then wedge one of those Crocs thoroughly up the back end of my digestive system. 3 hours in the books, we say adios to Lonzo, but not me, because I got 3 more hours taking over Offsides. I'm back after this. Rob, Lonzo, you, Diesel coming up on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Later. Those of you on the stream going dark, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFBC FM